Good day, good people, and thank you for joining us for our very first episode of Unpacking Her Purse, which is a Soul Pour podcast presentation in celebration of Women History Month that's going on right now from March 1st to March 31st. So I'm so excited about this series. This series is so dear to my heart because women are just being underrepresented at this point. And hey, we deserve our props. We deserve our props and all that we do. And so I'm so glad to be doing this. And today we're going to talk about a wise woman and all that she has packed in her purse. And this is just going to be fulfilling. So I hope you get to hear this. I hope you don't miss it. This is just going to be power packed. And this is a dear friend of mine. And we are true girlfriends. And so hopefully we get it all packed in. But if we don't, we've already discussed part 2. If we need to go into part 2, we'll do that as well. So hopefully that's all right with you guys. So today I have with me Miss Chase Terry. And Chase Terry describes herself as a true, kind-hearted, gentle spirit, a creative Virgo. She grew up the youngest of 4 sisters, but her soul gained her a respectable seat at a very young age, a lover of God and a romantic at heart. She married at the tender age of 27. Family is her second value under Christianity, and spirituality. A mother of 3 beautiful daughters, life had a hand dealt for her that only the strong could survive. In this episode of Unpacking Her Purse, we are going to get a glimpse of how life can break you into pieces, but with God. Those pieces build a continuous, beautiful story. Ladies, I would love for you to lean in on this one. Like I said, this one is power packed. As you go through life, we all have a vision, not knowing how we would achieve this vision, not knowing what challenges we will face. We are promised challenges, and we all know they hurt us sometimes. But this is how we discover our strength and wisdom for days ahead. Welcome, 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 Miss Chase Terry.
Amen.
Yes, I'm so glad you are here. I'm so glad that you are here. And since you are from my tribe,
Absolutely.
I just want to tell the listeners what I know about you.
Okay.
When I met you, oh my gosh, when I met you, I knew it was like something about you that would make us click. And I was like, she's here in corporate, but she's just like me.
Mm-hmm.
She's here in corporate, but she's carrying something else in her bag. She is carrying something else in her bag. I could just tell by your demeanor. I could tell by your look. And, you know, no matter what you were going through, you were always pleasant. And I can remember you working at the front desk, and every single person that came there and you helped them with their service or what have you. And you always said, my pleasure. And y'all, we weren't working at Chick-fil-A.
And I never worked at Chick-fil-A.
Right, we weren't working at Chick-fil-A. So you've just always had just a beautiful spirit, and just forthcoming, all the time young, but always well ahead of the curve.
That's right.
And in 2012, is that when you left? Did you leave corporate?
Did.
You left corporate in 2012 after the birth of her second daughter, and just taking that brave stand. I'm going to leave and just reinvent myself, because you knew that you didn't belong. You knew that you had further purpose. So you can always find Chesenia, but scratch. You can always find Chase on Instagram and Facebook. I mean, she is, just full of talents, from the theater, runway, being that corporate chick, and last but not least, you know your way around the kitchen.
Come on.
Yeah, but first, because you know it was three of us that was always together. You know, we were like three's company.
Yes.
And when you first started your healthy eating and healthy cooking journey, we were like, are you serious? Like, what are you doing? Because we were all young and we could eat what we wanted to eat.
Right.
We thought we could, right?
Cookout and McDonald's and all that.
Oh, yeah. We were wearing it out, wearing it out.
Yep.
And we know that some of the food we are consuming today is literally killing us.
Yes.
And you were on that research. You were wide open on it. And we were saying, oh my goodness, like what in the world? What's going on with her? Because y'all, this lady is always that extra piece.
Yes.
This lady from cooking, from being in plays, from singing to her spouse as she was coming down the aisle, all of those things, it just knocked us down all the time. We never knew what was coming around the corner with you. You were always our adventure. Yes. Yep. Oh my God. You were always our adventure, and still now. You always give us something. We're like, oh my God, are you serious right now? You are that girlfriend. Like, oh, and then you're the baby sister of the group. Right. But you give us that energy every single time. So then you begin your pescatarian journey, which is the pescatarian diet. And tell us a little bit about that.
So I always grew up having stomach issues, and I knew that something couldn't be right, but I couldn't put my finger on it. It was time out for what the doctors had to say, because what they said wasn't helping me, right? So right. A part of that is just listening to your body, paying attention and making strides for yourself. And so I started to research. Well, actually, it was Lent. Go have you it to be. We're in Lent right now, and I decided to become a vegetarian. And I said, wait a minute, I feel great. My stomach hasn't hurt me. My skin is beautiful. There's something more to this. And so as I started to research, there was the blood type diet. Depending upon your blood type determines how your body processes food and stores it. It's your chemical makeup, if you will. And then it was, just continuing to drink water. And like I said, pay attention and further my research. And so I said, well, maybe I don't have to cut out all meat. Because like you said, this was years ago. There was no, Beyond Burger, Impossible, all of those things that are out now. That was not of that time. And so I found myself eating, salads and oatmeal and soup and things like that. But, so I said, well, maybe I'll just have seafood and see how that works. And it worked just fine. And so there you have it. I became a pescatarian.
And you stuck with it.
I did.
That's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing about you. You are very consistent. So in 2019, you did the honors of creating Diet for Daddy for your beloved spouse that was battling cancer. And at this time, I mean, this was amazing. You never missed a beat. I can remember getting those texts every week, right on time.
Right.
And they were fulfilling because it was giving me some idea about how to create a healthier diet for me and my family. Nice recipes on there. You had wonderful research. And it was things that like really make you think like, I really shouldn't be eating this.
Yeah.
Alongside of this, you were being a mother, you were being a spouse, a full-time caregiver, an employee then at the time.
Yeah.
And you still came through. I'm shining like a diamond. For a long time, by us being in such a close circle, we had no idea what you were going through. We had no idea. I know you've always been one that will go straight to the Father with your issues. And I can totally respect that. And of course, being that you're my close sister, you're my friend, that always struck us the wrong way. But we did understand and we can respect that.
Yeah.
We just wanted to know, like, what could we do? But in all actuality, there was nothing that
Come
we
on.
could do. It
That's
was
the whole
nothing we
word.
could do but
Yeah.
listen and be there. And that's where sometimes, we get ourselves wrong, because we do go on our circles, into our circles, and discuss our issues. And we give our friends in our circle information that they can't even handle.
Right.
They can't handle the information.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do have to learn to give it to God
Yeah.
first before we start to voice those things and put those things in the atmosphere. So, because sometimes it could fall on wrong ears and wrong hearts of
That's right.
people who don't know what to do, and you end up being advised incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, with all that being said, I still got more to say. I still got more to say about you. Um, so, during this pandemic, most of us are not beating our face with the latest makeup trends, and getting it all together and putting together our latest ensemble for our virtual day at work. But this lady here is doing it. You can always find her posted up on social media, being fashion forward and photo ready. When I decided to choose a wise woman for this episode, it was difficult. It really was difficult, because I had to pass up a lot of people, because I engage with phenomenal women daily.
Yeah.
I have some sharp tools in my toolbox.
And let's be honest, you know how to make a friend.
Yes, ma'am, I
Yes.
do.
Mm-hmm. And be one at that.
Well, thank you, thank you.
It's a
And but
pleasure.
yeah, this was tough. This was tough. But when I thought about this, it was you. It was you, hands down. It was you. Um, like I said, I think you are the youngest one in my circle, but you have shown unwavering strength, immense love and determination and loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
And you show up for your family and your friends, to us on the outside looking in. You have displayed all of these qualities of a wise woman and someone who has just crazy faith in the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just just like from the forefront. When you come to a room, this is your energy. This is what you bring. Um, this is something that I work on this every day.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what you do. Everything you said you were going to do, you've done it.
Amen to
Um,
that.
when we met, you came and you said you were engaged to be married, and you got that done. Again, you said you was gonna sing to your husband coming down the aisle, and we said, no,
Don't
she's not.
do it.
Don't do that. We said it's gonna be too much. Just
Mm-mm.
come down. Just be a graceful bride and just come. No, no.
Mm-mm. I
Face
said
has
it
to
was
make
about to
a
be a
production.
show.
Yeah,
Mm.
she got to make a production, baby. That's what I say. Your name going up in lights. You won't stop until your name is in lights. And
Yes.
but I've appreciated your strength and watching you grow and just becoming the shining star that you are. And I appreciate you in my life. So we're just gonna jump right into this. I'm not gonna say any more about you. And y'all, she did not pay me to say all these wonderful things about her. I promise. This lady is um, just amazing. So we're gonna jump right into your story and just give us a little bit of feedback about your experience. And the one thing I don't want to leave out is because I know a lot of ladies, a lot of single ladies especially, and young ones, like you were at this time, and you still are, excuse me, you still are young. Um, we want what we want, and we want it in the package that we want it in.
Right.
And when it comes to marriage, we have a fairy tale. We have a fairy tale. We know what our partner is going to look like in our head. We know
Mm-hmm.
where we'll live. We know what our children will look like. Everything, right? We start thinking about that stuff when we're little girls.
We do, yeah.
We have that whole dream wedding going on, and just a happily ever after.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest part for me is when you are standing there saying your vows. How serious are you? How serious are you? Are you really taking in what you're saying I do to, and
Right.
what you're saying I will do for my spouse and for myself, um, as it pertains to our marriage, our relationship, everything? You're
Yeah.
laying it out there. You're telling the Father, I promise you this is what I will do. I am committed.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about how far you will have to go?
Well, first I want to say to God be the glory. Um, we never know. In life, we never know what we sign up for because, taken from, Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates. It's just full of surprises and you don't know. But
Mhm.
summing up everything that you've said and all the questions that you've placed out there, the one thing that continues to come to mind is trusting your equipment, right?
Mm,
Being able to tap within oneself to say, okay, Lord, if I'm here,
mhm,
place me out of my own way. Show me
mhm,
what you've instilled in me, the things that I may not know about myself, and help me through this. And He will. And it's all about, trusting, willingness, being obedient, and then just fine tuning that holy ear.
mhm.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah, that's exactly what you have to do. Tell us a little bit about your journey and what you've had to endure.
Okay. So we will start at 2012.
Okay.
When you spoke about I had Genesis, she's my youngest, she's the 8-year old. But I was in corporate America in accounting, couldn't stand it. I'm a creative person. It just
Yes.
wasn't for me. A lot of lessons to be learned in those moments, in those years, but I just knew it wasn't for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I saved up money. I know I had 401k established. I said, I'm going to leave. And I have enough money saved up to, and enough experience and education because I had 2 degrees at this time, right? So I'm like, surely I'll be able to leave and find a job. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. It was not fine. I was home for 2 years.
Oh, it
It
don't
was
seem like it was that long.
Yes, it seemed like it to me. It
I
seemed like
know it
5 years.
did. Yes, I know.
And I felt like I was in prison in my own body, in my
Oh.
own home, because I had such a creative spirit. I'm like, I'm not good enough.
Mhm.
Why will no one hire me? You know,
Mhm.
what's wrong with me? Those thoughts, flourished in my head all the time. But little did I know, that's when I started um, working out a lot. God said, focus on yourself, mind, body, spirit, which was also the time that I started, I was a vegetarian for Lent. And
Mhm.
so I would go to the gym 4 to 5 days a week. It was there that I met a guy named Richard. And
Mhm.
Richard told me about a pharmacy in Gastonia, which they sold medicine, but they wanted to put you more on a holistic route, right?
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know that was going to be my resource. Fast forward, 3 years after when we found out that Derek was diagnosed with cancer. So in that moment, I had a purpose. I didn't know it then, but as you said in my introduction, the pieces of life that create a beautiful story, you have to trust those pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, after that, I had just started a dream job, started over, entry level at Family
Mm-hmm.
Dollar. I went into merchandising. And it was a few months after I started that job that Derek was diagnosed with colorectal cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what's going on? My world seemed crumbled. It's like I finally found a job. I'm in my dream job.
Mm-hmm.
And this. But because of everything that I had went through in those 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I won't be ashamed to say I had suicidal thoughts,
Yeah.
because when you say I'm not good enough and you feel
Yes.
like, why am I here for, other than my children? That's, they're a blessing and I value them, but that's why I value them so much, because they kept me, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Um, so that faith was being brought up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he was diagnosed with cancer, I said, okay, we'll deal with this head on. And he was like, how much longer do I have, and this and that? I'm like, no, we will not put that in the atmosphere.
Mm-mm.
With stripes we are healed. God is our provider. He is our healer. We will speak over this and we will be just fine. And he
Mm-hmm.
was. He had a surgery. Um, he was fine for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then, it returned in 2018. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was scared this time.
Oh yeah.
I was scared, and it's not like my faith left me, but that's why I said fine tuning that holy ear, right? God spoke to me, and he showed me that my husband was going to die.
Oh my goodness.
What do you do with that, right? What do you do with that? It's like, okay, I trust you, Lord. You try to pray it away. You try to change the trajectory by saying, okay, maybe God feels like he's holding me back from something. Maybe if I leave, because I've had the conversations with you about divorce and how I did feel like my husband was holding me back.
Yeah.
Um, I said, maybe if I leave, he'll be okay. He'll be happy with someone else. All of these scenarios playing in my head. It's like, no, this has to happen. But Diet for Daddy happened.
Mm-hmm.
I went back to that pharmacy that I learned about when I was home for 2 years. They helped put him on supplements,
Mm-hmm.
helped start to educate me on certain foods about meat. He was a meat eater. He was not cutting out his meat.
Right. He like chicken.
Yeah, oh gosh, honey, love chicken. So with that, it's like, okay, you have to have grass-fed, grass-finished chicken if that's what you're gonna eat, or free range, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those things, and how to prepare foods differently, cutting out sugar. They even put sugar and seasoning salt. All of
Wow.
these changes that I made to help him. And when you're sick, it says go back to the ground. We come from the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
So oxygen, you need fresh air, sunlight, vitamin D. You need good waters. We was already drinking alkaline water, but we got more educated on alkaline water. Minerals, your iron, your magnesium, zinc, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So you start with those things to help your body heal itself. And
Mm-hmm.
then prayer. We have hands too. It's power
Amen.
in our hands. I will
Mm-hmm.
pray over that man. I had my own oil. He'll be greasy. But I was doing the work. It's about living in purpose, not knowing how it's going to end up, even though God showed me how it was going to end up. But in that moment, I still had a job. And so when you say that I get dressed, I show up, it was my
Yes.
job, because you never know who's looking at you and how you impact their lives and in their stories to help them. And so I had to set myself aside. And it was be that corporate woman to help pay the bills. It was be his caregiver. It was doing my research and doing Diet for Daddy to help other families. It was
Yeah.
showing up for my babies and
Yeah.
continuing to feed them with laughter, you
Mm-hmm.
know, feeding them healthy food more so now and educating them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then we came across a harsh time in our relationship,
Yeah.
and he passed away, right? And
Yeah.
so the last month and a half, I'm going to be honest, it was not fun. I was sad, I was angry, I was all of these things. And I didn't understand. And as we tried to every day relive our marriage and what we did wrong and what happened,
Mm-hmm.
um, I still knew it was coming to an end.
Yes.
And now looking back on it, God saved me. You know, God saved me because in the stages of grief,
Yeah.
um, shock is one of the first ones. He
Mm-hmm.
alleviated that because he told me a year before. Heartache, you know, the Bible says that the devil will try to get to a woman through her husband and her children. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, heartache, that being heartache. So all of these things kind of sprouted up from our relationship from the past.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it softened the heartache. But then the weirdest thing happened. The last week in the hospital, he was
Mm-hmm.
so genuine and
Mm-hmm.
he showed me all the reasons why I fell in love with him. And I
Mm.
started to fall in love with him again. And it's crazy because those
So it
last few
came
months,
back. It came back.
it
What
came
you
back.
thought you
Yeah, but
lost, yeah, it
it
came back.
it was gone because
Mhm.
what I'm a three strike type of person.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you a chance, but you're not gonna make a fool out of me with so many times, right?
Mm.
He was on his third strike when we started having turmoil in our marriage, and it's almost like a flip of a switch. I can't even explain it. Where my emotions were just cut off from loved them unconditionally because I am a Christian woman,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as being in love, it was no more.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, all of these things played out and happened for a reason because God, the good, gracious God that He is, was
Oh yeah.
protecting my heart. He was protecting
Mm-hmm.
my heart. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm so thankful for that. But a woman from our church came to pray on his bedside. And she just looked at me and she was like, "You're so strong." She was
Mm-hmm.
like, "I came to pray for you, but in doing that and being obedient to that call, you have helped me." And she said, "My daughter is going through a similar situation that you're going through. I would like for you to get in contact with her." And I said, "Oh, absolutely," because we all know that 20 to 30% of what we go through in life is for us. The remaining 70 to 80% is for other people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're here to share our testimony to gain more
Yes, we
believers.
are.
Yes. And so, um, not even, you know, like I said, he was on his deathbed, and it was maybe a few weeks after that, I had met up with this young lady, and I, you know, told her my story. We talked, and she said, "You know, you helped me, you're strong, you da 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 da." So it's like right out of something, God is already using you to help someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But even at his funeral, if you can remember, people
Yeah.
said, "She didn't cry." Do you know people spoke bad about me because I didn't cry?
Oh yeah. I can imagine. I can
Yeah.
imagine. You helped me so much. I have a real strange, I have a funny relationship with death. And you guys were so close to my husband and I. You
Yeah.
know, we did so much together. We were just married, just months away from each other. I carried your bouquet in my wedding. And this was shocking. This was a shocker to me. And
Mhm.
I grew angry when this was happening to you. I grew angry, and at the same time fearful. And I was just all over the place in my spirituality at that point. I was so angry and torn, as of my anger was coming from my why. Why is this? Knowing what I know about you and knowing what I know about him and
Mhm.
your relationship and the journey of your relationship, I do know that marriage go through different challenges. And I
Mhm.
understand that wholeheartedly. But it just hit different, right? When it is somebody that is that close to you, it just hit different. And I had so many whys, and I was angry, honestly. I was just angry because I didn't want it to happen. I knew that you could withstand the challenging moments of it, but I knew that you guys, and I knew your issues, some of them, that you would mention. But I also know that friendship sometimes lasts a whole lot longer than love.
Yeah.
And I knew that Derek was your best friend.
Yeah.
So I always knew that you would come through, whatever it was. It's like, okay, we have our girlfriend vent time, and I know you would come through. I knew it would be fine. It would
Mhm.
always shine on the other end, and you would always get on the other side of through with
Right.
no problem. But when you sent me the news of come now, I knew that you didn't say come now for no reason. You were telling me come now and don't hesitate, and, you know, bring your scary tail on. Come now.
Yeah.
Come now. And you had to give me those words. You knew
Mhm.
that. You had to give me those words just like that, no chaser, because you knew I would hesitate and
Mhm.
say, not, because I'm going to stay away from that. But when I see you, as the lady did, I think you held me up. Uh,
Yeah.
you know,
And
you
that
held
was
me up. You were my rock in the situation, and I was trying to be there for you, and I was just a mess. But you
yeah.
held me up, and like I say, the strength um, that you displayed, it
Mhm.
was unbelievable. And I know people will say wrong things and inaccurate, you know,
Right. Right.
things about you. But you know what? Because they don't understand.
That's right. Yeah. That's what
And
I
when
was
you don't
thinking.
understand, you start to criticize something
Mhm.
because you don't get it. So you're trying to make it okay with you
Right. Based on your understanding, your
based
level of
on your understanding. Absolutely.
yes. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was my conversation with the kids because it's not only me, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
also them. And
Yeah.
so the conversation was, we have to be strong. Daddy would have wanted us to be strong. He was not an emotional person. He
No.
would not want us to be upset. And so a part of our purpose was to let everybody know that we were okay because they lived it, to see someone that you love sick and no longer of themselves, you have to love unconditionally and let go.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to love enough to say, okay, it's time to let go. And so we got to that point, but then at the funeral, it was okay. We had making sure that they had their closure, but then
Mm-hmm.
making sure everyone else had their closure. And so
Mm-hmm.
part of that closure was a lot of people attend funerals like this for young people, and they feel bad for the widowed wife
Mm-hmm.
and the children left behind. But if they see our strength and that we're okay, and I talked this over with them, will y'all be okay this? And I explained to them the why. And
Mm-hmm.
they say, yeah, we'll speak. And if you remember, before they put is what is it? Like the lid, the top down,
Yeah.
they helped
Mm-hmm.
in covering him up and they helped put that down.
Yes, they
And so
did.
they
Yes,
were
they
along,
did.
yeah, the whole
Mm-hmm.
time along the way. And even at the end when they let the doves out. Now, those who know me know that I'm terrified of birds.
Mhm.
Now I said, girls, that's when I call it stop. Y'all can let those doves out, but mama gonna stay back. And that's exactly what I did. But that's what
You
every
are scared of birds. You are so afraid of birds.
oh my gosh, it's an understatement. I will leave everybody behind if a bird shows up. So yes, even up to the last step, I made sure that they were involved as much as they wanted to be, for their closure and to help other people know that we were all okay and everyone would be okay, because death is a part of life, and
Mhm.
it's about knowing God and knowing, eternal life, that
Mhm.
you gain your peace. His peace is impeccable. Like I
Oh,
would never imagine. And I will continue to say, trust your equipment, because who would ever know, you know?
mhm.
Growing up with younger girls and, friends and stuff, they had baby
Mhm.
daddies. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I always tried to avoid being a baby mama.
Yeah.
And so now it's like I'm not a baby mama, but I'm still a single mother now.
Yeah, you
It's
are.
like certain that you can't control. You know what I
Right.
mean? You just can't control everything. You can't control life. So that was a big learning lesson for me.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like you said, I mean, death is inevitable,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still it show up in its own time.
Mm-hmm.
You would have no idea that this was happening. But when you take a glimpse back and look at everything that you did beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
all of the research that you did, all of when you took that time out, when you took that time out of work, you went inward with yourself.
Yes. Yep.
And we all know that is the hardest thing that you will ever do
Mm-hmm.
is to look inward at
Face the
you.
mirror. Yep. Face the mirror.
When you face the mirror and you see so many images
Mm-hmm.
and you see yourself in pieces,
That's right.
all these pieces, and this is who I am for this set of people. This is who I am for my family. This is who I am for my church,
Mm-hmm.
my kids, my spouse. Who am I? Who am I in one piece? How do I show up for God? Because
Mm.
we all want God to say, well done
Right.
at the end of this journey. And so he was preparing you
Yeah. He
the
was.
whole way.
Mm-hmm.
Your interest in, trying to have a healthier diet for yourself, your ailments that you were going through with your digestion,
Mm-hmm.
all that wasn't about you.
It wasn't. Nope. It's the bigger
It wasn't
story.
about you.
Mm-hmm.
It was to prepare you in caring for your spouse that you would have to do down the line.
Yep.
It was all to rebuild who Chase Terry is now.
Mm-hmm.
So you had the whole moment of dumping out,
Yeah.
and you didn't know it though. You
I
didn't.
have to share this with you all. So Yolanda may be having a hard time when you see her say Chase, because I was called Cece.
Yes.
Her name
Well,
was
thank you. You let me look now. This thing was pushing me. I have to fix my mouth to say
right.
check.
But
Yes.
here's why though. Cece had to die.
Mm-hmm.
Cece had a different set of wants. Cece was more about Cece. Chase has life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Chase depends more upon God.
Mm-hmm.
Chase asks herself those questions every day. How will I show up for God? How will I show up for my circle? what is my purpose? That's changed. So that's why I chose to be called that now, because you and I were talking about this the other week when we talked about having this conversation, and you said we never arrive, and we
Nope,
don't.
we
We
don't.
never arrive, but at what point do you say, okay, I can reinvent myself and become better? And in that, continue to strive to be better. Whereas that might not have been on Cece's mind. Cece just wanted to, have a good
Have a
time.
good
Cece
time.
loved to dance. Cece was a bit much, honey. I love her. But
Yes.
yeah, but Chase is more mature. Chase knows that it's not about her. Chase trusts her journey. So that's who Chase is.
I respect it. I do. I respect that. Now I still call you CC,
Mm-hmm.
but I do respect Chase and who Chase has become.
That's
And
right.
I get it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there with you. Um, and it's been an amazing journey.
Oh, thank you.
And I can feel everything that you're speaking of. And so many women are afraid to die
Mm-hmm.
to the old them because of perception.
Mm-hmm. Missing out, ridicule,
Yeah.
you know, but you're
Losing
not doing anything good
along
if
the
you're
way.
not. Yeah,
Yeah. Some people will drop off.
that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need no dead weight, honey.
No. And you just have to grieve. Yeah, you got to grieve those things and
Yeah,
you have to grieve those relationships. Because I'm pretty sure, like with your change, you being the baby of your family and your parents, I know they probably were like, who is Chase? What are you doing?
right.
Right? What are you trying to do? Right. That's what they tell
Mm-hmm.
us, right? What are you
Mm-hmm.
trying to do? When I started series, this series was a seed planted in me a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, how am I going to do this? And this was before the pandemic.
Yeah,
It wasn't like a pandemic seed that kind of, it
right.
was before this time. And I said, everybody in my circle, my close circle, they're
Mm-hmm.
changing. I've watched them. And things that we talk about, my friends tend to talk to me about their deepest
Yeah.
things, their deepest challenges and stuff. And I take all that stuff in and I say, man, like we're all going through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some stuff, and I talk to my mama about everything, but some stuff you can't even tell your mama about.
You cannot.
Stuff is deep and you come from them. You're not them. You come
Right.
through them.
And in time, it's a different time. So the
Yes.
understanding is different.
And you have to birth your own thing, right?
You do.
And some of the challenges that we go to, sometimes they might not understand them. And sometimes you may not be able to put it in words that they will understand.
That's
And that's
right.
the hardest thing. So you need that close circle. And so I thought of a way like, how can I reach people and, all at the same time that
Yeah.
may be experiencing this? And this was my way. Like, we got to come forth. We have to tell what's happening. Because, when I asked you, I said, how would you feel about sharing your story? I don't want to step on toes. This is sensitive. This is
Right.
so sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And you said yes in 2 seconds. You
No
didn't
hesitation.
say, I got to think about this thing.
No
Oh, I got
way.
to sleep on it. Don't say this. Don't ask me about this. And you see, I haven't said any names or anything like that, but you are so personable that you're saying, okay, I'm all out here. I'm butt naked.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
That's
that's the kind
right.
of talk that we have. Oh, we get butt naked. We
Mm-hmm.
have this conversation, right? We keep it all the way. Yeah, we're 100.
You have to free yourself.
You do. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like you spoke about, it's that prison. And if you are in prison and not feeling at home in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you that's the worst thing in the world, because you're in a prison that nobody knows that you're in, and if don't nobody know that
They
you're
can't
in
get
prison,
you out. They
they
can't get
ain't
you
coming
out.
to visit you,
Nope.
right? And they're not gonna put no money on your books
For the ramen noodles.
or the ramen noodles. They ain't giving you nothing, and they're not expecting
Right.
to collect call nothing because they don't know you in there.
They don't. No. And you
And
have to be
that's what we have
transparent in your journey.
to
You
be.
know, the good and the
Transparency.
bad. Yeah.
We have to be that way for one another.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my true goal of this journey, to be there and show up for other women and let them know you can get on the other side of this.
That's right.
A lot of women losing their lives to their own at their own hands.
Absolutely.
Because
Like mental
they think they
health.
can't, yeah, they think they can't get on the other side of this.
No.
But when it starts to break, when the vow breaks, that's a hard break. So how does this enhance your outlook on your future? Um, does it enhance the outlook on your future? Where do you think this puts you, like, because you're still very young and your
Mhm.
family is still very young. So your move forward, do you see yourself moving forward and going, you know, to get married again? And I hesitate when I say that because some people may believe, oh, it's too soon to think about this. Some people may believe, are you afraid to do this again because of potential heartache once more?
That came up a little, but
Mm-hmm.
like you said, I'm young
Yeah,
and I always wanted another baby. Derek did
yeah.
not.
You always
And
have baby fever.
yeah, and they say get your tubes tied after Genesis. No, I didn't do that for a reason. So to
Aren't
answer,
you glad you didn't do that?
I'm ecstatic that I did not do that. I want another baby. You know, I want a husband. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we've talked and, you know, told you how being raised by so many strong women who were wives and are still wives, I come from that cloth. I am
Yes.
a wife. I know that I'm
Mm-hmm.
a wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, but going through all of that at a young age, it told me that I can conquer all things with Christ. And
Mm-hmm.
it will be okay. No matter what it is, what the challenges are, I will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I am ready for love again. I am in
Okay.
love right now, and I'm not ashamed
Uh-huh.
to admit it. You know, people may say, "Oh, you have to wait a year or 2 years," but what's right? Right? Nobody knows what that timeline is, and you would never know unless you went through my exact, situation, um, as it panned out to be. You won't know. Even as
Mm-mm.
someone who became a widow at 50,
Mm-hmm.
your timeline will be different from my timeline. You know, I still have, like I said, I still want a family. I still have goals. And so, yes, I'm open to it. I'm excited about it. That's another thing that God showed me shortly after his death was
Mm-hmm.
that you will be a wife again.
Mm-hmm. I
He
see
showed me,
that.
he showed me the characteristics of this man that he would love Derek with all my heart, but he was not, I was dragging him to church. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
as a leader of my home, I
Mm-hmm.
want a man that loves the Lord more than I do, even.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't have to drag you to church. You're instilling in me, I trust your leadership because I know that you depend on God.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some of the characteristics of the man that God showed me. And I got butterflies, honey.
I know you do, because that's you. You
Yeah.
know, if y'all don't know Miss Chase, that's her altogether. I'm not shocked. I'm
Hmm.
just listening, and you're giving it to me, and you're keeping it real.
Yeah,
because this is who you are. You know, you said it in your bio. You have a romantic heart.
I do.
And you
Mm-hmm.
do. You do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we've had those conversations on, you know, marriage and keeping the flame going. And, you know, a lot of ladies don't think that that's difficult to do. However, that is difficult to do as
But
you
yeah.
age. Yes, as you age and you go through your day to day, raising children and just all different types of things. You know, we are ever changing, and so is the world.
That's right.
And it is difficult to keep up. It's difficult to keep the flame going, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but not with you, baby. You always,
I had a story.
you
I'm about to
always
put in my
got it.
whole show to keep this flame going.
Yes, I can call. I know this is my friend I can count on. I can call her and say, hey, what
I
can
need
I
some
do?
ideas.
But
Yeah.
you know what? If you open the door, be careful because she might give you something you want to say. Give me just a little bit, right?
Right.
Give me just a
Just give
little
me
bit.
10% of that.
Yes. And you know, this guy that you speak of is truly lucky to have a
Uh-huh.
gem like yourself. He is truly lucky. And the girls, you know, they're gonna keep him on his toes. Whoever it is, they're gonna
Yeah.
keep him on his toes. And are they prepared for a new life, a new beginning?
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that because even early on, he's like the first person that I dated. And they were more forceful than I was. And
Oh,
I believe at first I wondered if it was because they felt sad for me. They
mm-hmm,
saw me as a wife and they saw me, be downstairs and watch TV by myself. And, that was something not normal for me. And so at first I said, are they just forceful in this because they want from me?
mm-hmm.
But then as time went on and I, dig and ask questions and probe, they say, no, you have a good discernment. They didn't use that word, but still.
Yeah,
So they trust that I wouldn't fall in love with just anyone. They
right.
trust his character. And they said from his character, they feel that he's a calm spirit, that he will be understanding. He's very
Mm-hmm.
compassionate, and they look at these things. And even when I've gotten in my feelings, with him, I said, I don't know about him. Well, mom, you have to, they talk me down. And they're like, well, you have to see it from his point and da 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 da. I'm like, what do you know? And it's so funny how they choose him for me.
Yeah, because they
That's
want to see you whole again. Not that you're not a whole woman, you know, on your own, but marriage to them, it brings completion to you
right, right. And
because that's what that's the spirit that they've seen you in
right.
their entire lives.
hmm And
So
and
it
it's
brings
not,
you completion.
yeah. And it's not them replacing their dad by no means.
No.
But Genesis said that I want to call him my stepdad. When can I call him that? And I was like, whoa, like this is a bit scary because
Yeah,
again,
wait,
in
right?
our mind, we have timelines, right? But Jada is more so the harder shell to crack because she was a daddy's girl.
Mm-hmm.
But just a few weeks ago, she said, I like when this person comes around. It's nice to smell cologne and to be around a father figure.
Yeah.
And she was the one that was, I'm not going to ever call no one dad and you'll be fine. You don't need to marry again. She was that person at first, but it was surprising for her to say that. And I asked her, why'd you say that? And she's like, it's just what I feel, based off of the same characteristics that I identified earlier in the question. And so I'm thankful, before even going through all of this, I went to a women's workshop, and
Mm-hmm.
the apostle there prayed over, and professed over my life, and she said that God said, "Let it go," meaning, the situation with Derek, and that he was gonna pass. There's nothing I could do with it. And she said that God also wants you to know that it's gonna be okay. You will be prosperous. You will be happy. Let it go, and everything has worked out, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
so thankful for that.
Now, Chase, you are a bonus mom as
Yes.
well.
Mhm.
Um, so how is that relationship? Because we know, and I'm one as well. So we know that our relationship with our bonus children are very sensitive
Mhm.
because we feel like we really have to work because we have to instill trust in those children and
Right.
let them know that we love them just
Mhm.
like they were birthed, from our womb.
That's right.
When you don't have to do that so much with your biological children, but you do
Mhm.
have to do it with your bonus babies.
Yeah.
You just have to just keep that sensitive, that sheltered protection around that relationship. And so with all of the events that has transpired with her and you, and how is that working right now? And how do you think this will strike her, the fact that you have moved on?
She's aware. She knows
Mm-hmm.
about it. She's met him when she
Mm-hmm.
came for Christmas. So we haven't missed a beat. She
Okay,
would
good.
visit twice a year. She still comes here twice a year. I
Great.
still give to her as if Derek
Mm-hmm.
would. She's in college, and so I make sure that she's okay. I still have those conversations with her, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just to check on her, see where her mind is as a young lady, to make sure she's headed in the right direction. She
Mm-hmm.
has a mother, but like we already said, you may not be able to speak to your mother about everything, but in
Right.
our relationship, she's a little bit more open to sharing those things and feelings with
Yes.
me. And so I want to continue that on.
Mm-hmm.
So we have conversations. Like I said, she still comes to visit. So our relationship is continuous, and I would expect that it would be, even being with someone else, and
Mm-hmm.
we marry and move together. Our home is still and will always be her home.
Her home.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's very important to lay that soil.
Hmm.
You have to lay that soil, you know, for her as well, for
Yeah.
him that's
Hmm.
coming in. You have to, let him know so he can process those things as well, because men, they're men. They're not emotional beings like we are. So the
Yeah.
love for someone else's offspring
Hmm.
is not always automatic. It's
Right.
not always automatic. They have to learn to love, and they have to learn who to be and how to show up for someone else's children.
Right.
So that can be tough, but I see that you have, hit that head on
Mhm.
and said, I know you've already laid it down and said, this is what this is going to be. You're
Right.
in or you're out, right?
And you better say you in.
You better
Like,
be
yeah, like Respucia, you got a girlfriend, you do now.
in.
You don't have no choice.
Oh, well, since you're such an inspiration to others, what inspires you?
I am inspired by other people's blessings, believe it or not. I love to witness other people being blessed and overcoming. It just fills me. Um, I also like to read devotions, and I love to listen to Sarah Jakes and Mike Todd and what's his name, Keon Henderson, people like that.
Mm-hmm. Those are some
Just
of my favorites as well.
yeah, I think it's important to feed your spirit. you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to be protective of your spirit and what goes in it. And so I just like positive vibes, fill myself with
Yeah.
positive vibes, and you know, that's just what keeps me. And of
It
course
makes a difference.
the girls always inspire me.
Yeah. And it
Hmm.
makes a difference. Um, and the fact that they are watching you go
Yes.
through this,
Yep.
you do know, I know you know what amazing women they're going to be.
Hmm. They're so strong.
Watching you through this experience, and
Hmm.
it didn't break you.
Right. Right.
So you have taught them that you can get through anything.
That's right.
And you've also taught them that hard lesson, um, that nothing's permanent.
It's not.
Nothing's permanent. So whatever you have possession of, whether it's a relationship, time with your family, anything, that we shouldn't take those things for granted,
Absolutely not.
because nothing is here to stay.
Mhm. And I also, in this journey, had to teach them that it will not become your crutch. You will not use this for excuses. You know,
Mm-hmm.
life happens to everyone, and it's what you do with it that makes you better.
Mm-hmm.
You can't use that to justify your wrongdoing. No,
Mm.
ma'am. No way. No, no, ma'am.
Now
And
that's
they've
good.
tried it. They've tried it. And I
Of
had to
course.
ask myself, am I not being compassionate to their feelings? And I'm like, no, because if I get wrapped up in that, people who don't care for them or who don't know them enough to love them, that it's going to be admissible, right? None of that
Mm-hmm.
matters if your father passed at a young age. They don't care
Right.
about you, and so I
They don't
have to
care
teach.
about it.
Yeah, they don't know you enough to even care about it. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you will not use that as an excuse, but instead you will use that to strengthen you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That is so good. That is so good, because won't we do that?
we will. We
We will
all
do
will.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we will do that.
Yep.
Oh, I can't get through this, or maybe they're going through this because, no,
Right. Stop
you
making
will
excuses.
rise above. Yes. So I hate to wrap us up,
I
because
told you we need a session
oh my
too.
goodness.
We didn't unpack enough.
Woo! What would you, what advice, and you're still so young,
Hmm.
but still, what advice would you give Cece?
I would tell her that you are enough because
Mm,
remember, going through that. And I still have those thoughts in my head to this day, with work or whatever. If I don't accomplish something the way that I thought it should, it's like, wait, you are enough. And it's okay if every day isn't a home run. You're one step
mm,
closer to the base, and that's enough for today. And so I would tell her you are enough. I would tell her to not take things personal because of
mhm,
as we cross other people in their lives, we don't know their journey, we don't know their upbringing and learned
mhm,
behaviors. um, so we can't take anything personal. We have to learn to meet people where they are,
mhm,
um, and accept it as you may, right?
mhm,
I will
mhm,
also teach her to value herself,
mhm.
um, and just take one day at a time.
Yeah.
Take it slow. I remember, when we were in corporate America together, I was
Mhm,
promoted in 3 months, right?
mhm.
And so I figured that's how it was always going to be. If I show up and show out,
Oh
I
yeah.
get promoted.
Yes.
But the
Yes.
hard lesson that I had to learn on my next job is that every pat on the back or every good job or every accomplishment doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready for the next step. Like that could just be one piece of it, right? It's still four other pieces until the next level. And so, yeah, just really taking your time and learning what it is that you need to learn in the moment.
Right, because we do need to be conscious of, like you said, the pats on the back, the atta girls, and
Right.
everything. Because we do need to take that time and take all of the steps necessary so that we are in the position to receive
Right, right.
what we are going to the Father about, and our goals, and how we will be able to respond to, to the goal or to the blessing.
Right.
That
Once I get it, how will I be able to
what
keep
am I going to do with it?
it?
Right.
Yep.
Because if you're not in the position to receive, if you're not ready for it,
That's right.
will he still give it to you? Yeah, he will. He'll still give it to you. Will you mess it up? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He'll help you fix it, but no,
He'll help you fix it. But, you might jack this thing up.
Right. Right.
You're not careful. You have to be careful. And you have to just, take that time and breathe through it, and, don't skip steps.
That's right.
Because all the detail is in the middle. You can't go from start and then jump to finish, and you've missed all the detail.
There's so much value in the middle. And
It
we just try to
is.
get to the finish line so quick, but it's like it's so much beauty in the middle.
And you know me, I'm a middle child.
Ah, shucks.
And I'm a middle child. So you already
I
know.
ain't saying nothing but a word.
You ain't said nothing but a word. I'm the middle child. So what do I have? I got all the stuff.
You do. You
Because
really
I'm in
do.
the middle. So you have your first one, right? That's your one that you start with, and you kind of do everything right, and you do. Then you got your last one.
Yeah.
And that's the one that you shelter, because that's your last baby. That's your finale.
Right. That's
So
the soggy part. That's the soggy part.
That's it right there. Like, we're going to really hold tight on this. This is it. This is the finale.
Right.
But in the middle,
that's what it getting good at, huh?
that's what it getting good is. I get all the experiences, all the wisdom, and everything else, because I'm
you do.
Right. And that's what happens in your story. That's your chance to rewrite things. You don't need to erase nothing.
That's right.
But you can rewrite it.
Yes, that's good.
And the finale ain't happening until we gone from here. We don't know what that's about.
Right, right.
We can only prepare ourselves and our souls for where we want them to land.
Right.
But the finale in this life, that ain't on us, because we'll never know.
That's right.
We'll never know. This has been wonderful. This has been wonderful. We had enough. It was sensitive, and I'm not going to tell you a tale. I was afraid of this. I really was. I was afraid of this conversation. Yeah, I was. I was scared of it. Because I didn't know if I was going to get to the ugly cry. But I didn't.
Right.
I didn't.
Prepared well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, we did. We did. And just, being active in everything that was going on with you also, prepared us for this time that, again, we didn't know we were going to have.
Right. Right.
But here we are.
Here we are.
So we're at the end now. So just a fun question.
Yes, ma'am.
What's in your purse, baby?
All right. What's in my purse? So I will be proud to say I no longer carry a purse. It weighs you down. It will weigh you down because the bigger the purse, the more we try to fit in it, right? And half
Mm-hmm.
of the time, we realize that the stuff that's in our purse doesn't serve us. And so Cece would carry a purse.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Cece had fairy tales in her purse,
Oh,
the happily ever afters,
oh.
the unexperience of knowing that there's not always a happily ever after. Cece had bills in her purse, papers, old receipts, stuff that served no value.
Uh-huh.
Now, Chase got a clutch, honey.
Mm-mm.
Chase will have a fortune in it because my love language is words of affirmation. And
Uh-huh.
that's just a reminder, to tell myself, hey, again, I'm good enough. Whatever the message may be on that fortune as to why I kept it, that's a constant reminder to
Mm-hmm.
say that I am worthy because I'm God's child and He made me in His perfect image, right? Um,
Yes.
in that clutch, I will have my keys because you have to always stay ready. In my clutch, I have tissue because I have learned that, I'm an emotional person, but I internalize my emotions. It's okay
Mm-hmm.
to cry out. It's okay to not be okay some days.
Mm-hmm.
I call that the tissue for surprises. That's what
Mm.
that's for. Just like when you surprise you got something in your nose and you looking for that tissue. That's what that tissue is for, the surprises out of life. My clutch has lip gloss in it because I just like lip gloss. It's who I am. Um, but more importantly, I think the important part of the clutch is the clutch because it's something that you hold close to you, your
Yeah.
values. And
Yeah.
so whereas a pocketbook would dangle at your hip and possibly weigh you down, a clutch keeps you centered. And how could I forget my gum? I just have a piece of gum in my clutch for obvious reasons. All right, you gotta stay fresh, honey. But yes, Chase carries a clutch.
Go ahead, Chase. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Chase is telling y'all, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not ready, go ahead and get ready, right?
Yes, never too late.
Get ready. Get ready.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever it is, if you haven't faced it yet, you're going to.
Yes.
Whatever the thing is. Because God didn't promise us a life without challenges.
Mm-mm.
He didn't.
Mm-mm.
So if you're not ready, get ready.
Yes.
And if we could learn to lighten our bags on the way, because that holds us back from getting ready.
It does. It will weigh you down and you don't even know why.
Right.
You got a breath when you get to where you're going. And
When I would go on jobs and stuff like that, and people, would have a bunch of pictures and stuff on their desk and all of this carrying on. And then, if that's what you do, that's what you do.
yeah.
But people would always come to me and say, well, how long you been working here? Well, I've been working here for X amount of years or whatever. Man, it looked like you just started. Mm-hmm. And I tell them, I pack light.
That's right.
I pack light
Mm-hmm.
because in a minute, something could change.
That's right.
And I need to be ready. I need to be ready. I don't have time to reach back and bundle up a whole lot of things and keep making trips back to a place where I have been because I kind of
Right.
keep reaching back, getting stuff, going
Right.
back, getting baggage. Oh, no, no. Mm-mm. I
Being
pack
ready.
light.
Yeah, being ready softens the blow.
Yes,
And,
ma'am.
again, knowing that source, taking all things to God in prayer,
Mm-hmm.
and just knowing that it's okay. You'll be all right, no matter what it is.
Fine.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just be ready.
So this wraps up our episode number 1 at Unpacking Her Purse with the amazing Chase Terry. Well,
Thank
Chase, we
you.
appreciate you being on set with us today.
Mhm.
This was everything to me. I want you to know that. This
I'm
was
so
everything.
thankful. Yes,
Um, we might have to do a part 2
I told you.
because you have let us in on something and you gave us a cliffhanger.
Hmm.
And so we're coming back with part 2.
I would
We
love
have
it. I'm
to.
excited. We
We
have
have
to.
to.
Yes.
And I hope that this, touched ladies all over this place, and inspired them to just take a moment and think.
Hmm.
Take the time to look inward.
Yes.
Do that mirror check
Mhm.
before you do anything. Before you go to that next job, before you go to the next level, before you get into the next relationship, when you get engaged, when you start to think about the package that your spouse comes in,
Mhm.
know who you are, what you are willing to withstand, and just how you want to show up to the world. And that person that shows up to the world should be that same person that shows up at home
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
everywhere else. You
Hmm.
know, don't try to divide yourself to appease the world.
Hmm. That's good.
You have any final thoughts or words for us, Chase?
I want to thank you for the opportunity to share my story. I want to thank you for being obedient and allowing God to use you and giving you this vision and trusting it and now putting it into fruition. Um, and it was just an honor to share with you all, and I'm thankful for that. And I know that in your obedience and in this testimony that it will be blessed.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Listen, honey, I love you. I love you to pieces.
I love you too. I love you so much. So that's a wrap for us, guys, on Unpacking Her Purse. And we will see you next time for episode 2.
Next time.
Enjoy your day.
Have a good one.